streets. The moon is full, but hearts are dark, Dolores. Danger in every stranger you meet. There's a killer in the neighborhood, Dolores. A man who sees a girl and goes berserk. And you're just the kind of woman that he preys on. And my mind stays so upset, it's hard to work. While I'm working nights out making my collections, a few quarters for insurance every week. Sometimes I can hardly find directions, for fear some harm may fall you on the street. The paper says the slayer struck another. Even now the law is searching for a clue. And they've called me to identify your body. Dolores, how could I know that it was you? If you'd stayed inside the house tonight, Dolores.
I just gone through a horrible experience with her roommate stabbing her. And I was in shock because of that. I couldn't believe that it was that way. And I'm walking back there bewildered. I gotta kill her. I can't let her go. She's gonna tell on me. Everybody's gonna get me. She sees the blood on my hands. What are you doing? She pulled back and she gasped. And I think, whoa, I don't want her to know what happened. I said, your friend got smart with me. She'd been getting really smart with me a lot, but I never hit her. I killed her, but I didn't hit her. I said, your friend got smart with me and I hit her. I think I broke her nose. You better come help. She's about to die. Why does she have to know that? I couldn't deal with telling her that. And when I attacked her, she didn't at first realize what was happening. It didn't go through. She had very heavy coveralls on. It knocked her right up into the lid of the car, but it didn't pierce the clothing. So it wasn't that swell a knife anyway. I went out and bought a pawn shop, huge knife. And I kept on just mindlessly attacking. She falls back into the trunk. I just killed a young woman. I slammed down the lid of the trunk. She isn't dead, she's dying. And I panicked. I thought, I just locked the car keys in it, because I can't find them in my pocket. Oh my God, I locked them in the trunk. I'm kicking on the trunk lid and yanking on it. Oh no, I don't believe this. I started to run, and I tripped over the gun that I'd had in my pants that I had totally forgotten was there. I stopped. I said, stop and think. I collected my wits. Check all your pockets. I picked the gun up. I stuck it back in my pants, now remembering I had one. I checked all my pockets, and there's the keys in the back pocket. I never put them in my back pocket. I thought I was pretty slick, and went and tripped all over myself. That first 2 murders, the first 24 hours, there were 3 clear times I should have been busted, and I wasn't, because 3 different individuals or 3 different groups of people got scared and minded their own business and looked the other way. I was getting better at it. I was getting less detectable. I started flaunting that invisibility, severing a human head, 2 of them, at night in front of my mother's residence, with her at home, my neighbors at home upstairs, their picture window open, the curtains open, 11 o'clock at night, the lights are on. All they have to do is walk by, look out, and I've had it. Some people go crazy at that point. I felt it. It was one hell of a tweak. I mean, to just flip out and not know where I was. To be walking up the stairs with a camera bag that belonged to a young woman that had her severed head in it. Walking up to my apartment, past a happy young couple coming down the stairs who nodded and smiled at me as they went by. Good evening. And they're going out on a date where I'd love to be going. And I'm aware of both of these realities, and the distance between those two is so dramatic, so amazing, so violent, that really, I could feel the wheels squeaking inside. That was really pulling on it. And I imagine at that point some people break. But I didn't literally go insane. I didn't get lost.
Can Mary fry some fish, Mama? I'm as hungry as can be. Oh, Lordy, how I wish, Mama, you could keep the baby quiet, 'cause my head's killing me. I seen my ex last night, Mama, at a dance at Miller's store. She was with that Jackie White, Mama. I killed them both, and they're buried under Jenkins' sycamore. Don't you think I'm psycho, Mama? You can pour me a cup. If you think I'm psycho, Mama, better let them lock me up. Don't hand the dog to me, Mama, I might squeeze him too tight. And I'm as nervous as can be, Mama, but let me tell you about last night. I woke up in Johnny's room, Mama, standing right by his bed, with my hands near his throat, Mama, wishing both of us was dead. You think I'm psycho, don't you, Mama? I just killed Johnny's pup. You think I'm psycho, don't you, Mama? You better let them lock me up. You know the little girl next door, Mama? I think her name is Betty Clark. Oh, don't tell me that she's dead, Mama. Why, I just seen her in the park. She was sitting on a bench, Mama, thinking up a game to play. Seems I was holding a wrench, Mama, then my mind walked away. You think I'm psycho, don't you, Mama? Didn't mean to break your cup. You think I'm psycho, don't you, Mama? Mama, Mama, why don't you get up? Say something to me, Mama. Mama, why don't you get up?
I'm upset with hard copy on this level, from this perspective. Other inmates come to me and they say, Charlie, we didn't like what they said. We know different. And all you people who keep putting that out on the air, I'm going to give you another reason why I'm here. I'm here to help you a little bit. Because the guy next door to me said, Charlie, I know you, and I like you, and you've helped me out of a few tight situations, and I owe you one. I said, what's that? He said, I seen that show on TV the other day, and that's wrong. I get out in 8 months. Is there anything you want me to do? Now, what do you want me to tell him? Do you want me to tell him to come and see you? Do you want me to be the guy you're trying to make me? Do you want me to be the guy that orders people to die? Do you want me to be the dispensation of life and death? You convicted me for dispensating life and death, man. The President of the United States can't even do that.
It was in the 6th decade of the 20th century when the hippie movement plagued our continent, living lives devoid of care, short of cash and long of hair. They were dropouts from the great establishment. Oh, the California hippie murders, flashing knives and blood, and the word pig carved upon a young girl's breast. A mother pleading for her unborn son while they killed their victims one by one was the worst crime in the annals of the West. Their leader was evil, accursed from his birth. How he hypnotized and mesmerized each girl with dope, sex, and music. He invaded the earth, preparing his kingdom, a hippie world. Holy, holy, adi, holy, holy, yodeling. Oh, the California hippie murders, flashing knives and blood, and the word pig carved upon a young girl's breast. A mother pleading for her unborn son while they killed their victims one by one was the worst crime in the annals of the West. Holy yodeling, he yodeling.
Time it got kind of boring in the afternoon, so I'd go over there and sit with whoever was attending the store. And one day Eddie Gein was there and Irene, and we sat around the stove and we rehashed what it might have happened to Mary Hogan. I had a brilliant idea, and I said to Irene, you know, I think I know what happened to Mary Hogan. And she said, what? And I said, well, I think Eddie ran off with her here. I said, you know, he's such a lady killer. And he laughed. He said, yeah, and yum, yum, was she good. And I said, oh, my God, Ed, what a terrible thing to say.
Mary Hogan's head was recovered at the Gein farm.
Down on the hood.
when I was a real little kid, about 6 years or so.
And?
Well, I told my parents about it. They said, you lying, you know. And so ever since then, I said, well, somebody said, well, you can make money that way. I said, well, I make some money that way, yeah. So I've been doing that ever since.
You were a male prostitute?
If I was on the street, I could get your money.
You get my money? How would you do that?
I dress up like a woman, I'll get that money you got. Because I could tell you like to go out and play the field now and then. I get me a wig on, cut my eyes back, get me some homo shots, and I'll have that money before the night's out.
You know, a lot of people have said that you're a pretty sick son of a bitch, Eddie.
I am sick. I am sick.
Here's how he describes himself as a father.
Loving and caring. I've always looked after my children, even now.
What kind of values do you remember imparting to them?
The kind of values?
Were you strict with them too?
No, not as strict as, no. A lot of things that my dad did, I refused to do, because I don't believe in hitting children. I don't believe in spoiling a child either. My values are such that if you give enough love to the children...
You're accused of murdering 33 kids, and you say you didn't believe in hitting. I mean...
Well, anybody that knows... You see, first of all, you're basing this garbage on what you've heard of me.
And what the jury said, and what the courts of appeal have said. And the prosecutor who put him in jail says Gacy is a ruthless and sadistic killing machine.
What happened to... what happened in the Bukovic case? Where was he picked up, and how did he get to the house, and what happened with him?
I don't want to go into the other... the 5 that I know about, just take it that I didn't... Bukovic is not one that I killed, so I don't know nothing about him. The little bit that I know about him is that he was an employee of mine. See, when you look about this recall business, and
I'm not a prosecutor, John, but you just
I know you're not.
Bukovic
Wait a minute.
is not one that you killed, which suggests that maybe in fact there were others that you did kill. I mean, I'm not...
Okay, I'm sorry if I led you to believe... No, strike it then. That is wrong. I had a rosary, which I carried in my pocket. I've always carried a rosary. It was my communion rosary. They said, well, what kind of a knot do you use? I said, what do you mean knot? When I tie things up? I says, depending on what I'm using it for, I said, the only thing I ever learned from Boy Scouts is a tourniquet knot. He said, well, show us what that is. So I took, at that time, and again, it's together, but in order to demonstrate it here, I took the rosary and I said, well, here, you put it around. This is hard trying to do this. Why don't you put your hand out? Okay, here. What I told him, I said, here, all you do is you wrap it around, you put one knot in it. And I said, then you put a second knot in it. Okay? I said, then you take a stick and stick it in here, and you just turn this. And I said, it causes a tourniquet. I said, that's the only knot I ever learned.
Precisely the kind of knot found on the ropes wrapped around the necks of the victims found under the house on Summerdale.
Breaking down the walls again, trying to cut my balls again, trying to make me fear again, trying to make me wear again, trying to kill me now again, trying to make me hard again, trying to kill me fast again, trying to make me fear again, they're fucking your kids, they're fucking your kids now, they're fucking your kids, oh John takes me from you, trying to kill me now again, trying to make me wow again, breaking them to hell again, giving me such a thrill again, trying to kill me now again, trying to make me fear again, trying to make me aware again, trying to knock me down again, fucking your kids, they're 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 fucking your little kids, one their labor, trying to kill me now again, trying to make me again, trying to make me fear again, trying to make me aware again, these plays.
To me, clowning was a way of relaxation for me. You regressed into childhood, you were able to relax, and you could be goofy if you wanted to, and still you had the facade of your face being covered.
The clown suit hid his face and his evil crimes as well. Even today, on death row, he's painting portraits of himself as a clown. The 33 Flavors clown. And the convicted killer of 33 can't help but chuckle at the irony.
I used to do clowning, and I don't know if you want to mention the name, for an ice cream company in Chicago who had 33 flavors. I used to, I'm serious, Bressler Ice Cream Company. I was their contractor and I was also their clown. And Pogo the Clown was the clowning that I did for charity hospital work for the Democratic Party and that, and Pogo the Clown is originally. Pogo comes from being Polish and on the go all the time, so it's Pogo.
Why the skeleton?
This was done by request. Somebody requested a skull clown, and mostly the punk rockers and the undergrounders like that stuff there. This is Christ as I see him in myself. And it's monolithic because Christ, to me, is monolithic. He's all things to all people.
John Gacy was finally arrested because he ran out of space and dumped the 33rd body in a river.
Albert, that's his name. Call my sister all the time. You sure are the cheating kind. Causing tears was your delight. As you came and went in the night. Albert, Albert, what have you done? You had so many just for fun. Clever boy you had to be. You missed Miss Jones in room 23. Girls in town had a lot to say about what happened when you passed me away. Albert, Albert, you're not nice. You stood her up more than twice. She locked all the doors in our hall, but her friends are having a ball, booking her up with a great big A, big enough to cover your way. Albert, Albert, don't get mad. She was only a passing fad. If you hear this song anywhere, please remember that she cares. I gave you a name that's right. Mr. Playboy every night. Albert, Albert, what the heck? You were just a pain in the neck. Albert, Albert, that's his name. Albert, Albert, that's his name.
A man showed a detailed knowledge of superintendents of apartment buildings in hundreds of apartments in the greater Boston area. He could call them by name, and he would refer to the first and last name of the superintendent and say, he sent me to do some specific repair work. He would also use the name, both first and last name, of the resident of the apartment. Mary, the superintendent Harry Jones sent me. Mrs. Smith, the superintendent Fred Brown sent me. This was his standard method of gaining entry and to get potential victims to relax to let him get into the apartment.
The night may be warm, or it may be cold. I'm a man who needs someone, a woman to hold. I'm a loner with problems, many so small, but small problems in millions is no living ball. I need someone to cling to help me to bear these troubles and heartaches that tease, drive, and dare. I don't know a woman, and yet I crave on. My mind tells my body, don't stand there, get one. Then all of a sudden, I'm no longer clean. I'm a mass of wild muscle, a human machine. My body is reckless, my mind unaware. In these moments of madness, I fight, claw, and tear. and I'm me again. I've done wrong without knowing and caused so much pain. At last I am captured, no longer to roam. The state penitentiary will now be my home. And the worst thing that happens here in the clink is that you go out of your mind as you start to think. My mind's in a frenzy, my body in fright. And so now I've been labeled Strangler in the night. Strangler in the night. Strangler in the
night. Greater Boston women should be able to sleep more peacefully and soundly tonight, knowing that Albert Desalvo is behind this door.
He thought, as he climbed with his ammo and guns, of his beautiful childhood, his home, and loved ones. The day was quite warm, and the steps were steep, but his spirit was strong, and his thoughts were deep. From the top of the tower, he could hold out for days. He'd been in the service and knew all the ways. He'd fight all alone with his back to the wall. But how long had he been here? He couldn't recall. He'd been a good husband, good father, good son. He remembered that Dad had taught him the use of a gun. He tried to think, were his buddies all dead? But all he could feel were the pains in his head. From the top of the tower, he could see all around. The people like ants crawling all over the ground. He pulled the trigger. One fell in his tracks. The others just stood there like figures of wax. He looked through his scope. God, how many there are. They're enemies, boy. Now get on with the war. You know you can't win, but you give them a good fight. They killed all your buddies, and that isn't right. They scattered like sheep, running every which way. But he picked them off one by one, like a child at his play. Where had they come from? And when did they land? Oh, don't think on it, soldier. You don't understand. He knew he'd done right, killing mother and wife. He had saved them from a hell of a life. From the campus below, he hears sirens and shots. But he sticks to his job. And he keeps them from his thoughts. Now a sharpshooter spots him and shoots him down dead, so that he'll never more have those pains in his head. He died fighting. In the tower.
I wish I could say that it just left completely, but no, there are times when I still do have the old compulsions. I was branching out. That's when the cannibalism started, eating of the heart and the arm muscle. It was a way of making me feel that they were a part of me. At first it was just curiosity, and then it became compulsive. Then I tried to keep the person alive by inducing a zombie-like state. By injecting first a dilute acid solution into their brain or hot water, and it never did completely work.
Could someone like you be stopped? Could you be helped?
No, I was dead set on going with this compulsion. It was the only thing that gave me any satisfaction. To this day, I don't know what started it. And the person to blame is sitting right across from you. That's the only person. Not parents, not society, not pornography. I mean, those are just excuses. The night of the arrest, I have no memory of what happened during the 6 hours before the last victim ran out of the apartment. I heard a knock on the door, and the police were there with the last victim. They asked me where the key was to the handcuffs. My mind was in a haze. I sort of pointed to the bedroom, and that's where they found the pictures. And they yelled, "Cuff him." I was handcuffed, and it was just the realization that there was no point in trying to hide my actions anymore. The best route was to help the police identify all the victims and just make a complete confession.
If there's somebody out there that is watching this and hasn't done that, hasn't killed people, and wants to, and rages inside and struggles with that feeling, or is so sure they have it under control, they need to talk to somebody about it. Trust somebody enough to sit down and talk about something that isn't a crime. Thinking that way isn't a crime. Doing it isn't just a crime, it's a horrible thing that doesn't know when to quit, and it can't be stopped easily once it starts.